Are you rolling? Is that how you say action?
You know what?
Do you say action?
You know what? We're having a conversation, and ignore the cameras. And it's just us having a conversation like we did a half an hour ago when we met.
Can you do you mind saying action just before you start? I've always wanted to be.
Okay. Action's usually reserved for film shoots when they do film, because it actually syncs up the sound and the film, and we're shooting video today. So we don't really need to do that. But if you insist, we could do that.
Yeah, it's just one word, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Are you still on the NRA, NPR? Was it NRA?
It's National Public Radio. Are you familiar? Do you get it down in the...
They play it out in the like college towns in North Carolina, NPR and stuff, and I mean, to me, it's a bunch of junk.
TBTL.
Like on the George Lopez show, I saw the behind the scenes of George Lopez, and it was on Entertainment Tonight. And before he started talking, somebody was like, "Action." So if you, I mean, I'm no George Lopez or anything like that, but
Right.
If you just do it, I think it might kick it in a little bit better.
My dream is to sail around the world on a catamaran with 2 members of every cat race and share my love with cats for all the humans to see around the world.
Well, if it makes you feel better, I'd rather be up here with you than down there with those teenage people with their memes and their hashtags and drakes.
You know, this is beginning to seriously undermine my self-esteem.
Well, all right, hello, good morning, and welcome everybody to a Wednesday edition of TBTL, the show that just might be too beautiful to live.
This song goes out to all the coffee lovers of the world.
My name is Luke Burbank. I'm your host.
Welcome to my world.
Coming to you from the Madrona Hill studio perched high above the mighty Columbia, where we are still dealing with just absolutely terrible, wet, windy weather. It's just
didn't know you like to get wet though.
The mighty Columbia is mighty brown right now. I think some of the local rivers 13, 14 feet above their normal levels. I could see waterfalls that have formed across the river from me in the hills of Rainier, Oregon. Quite a time out here. Glad I'm inside podcasting to you all on episode 4616 in a collector series.
Let the fun begin.
The U.S. State Department has decided that they are going to change their official font because they think the one that they've been using is too woke.
It's a waste of time to do that.
Woke fonts? Did not know that was a thing. Now I know it's a thing, and I'm going to tell you about it. Also, the Seattle Seahawks are playing a game this Sunday against the Indianapolis Colts, and Indianapolis looks like they're going to be starting a 44-year-old quarterback.
Oh my God, that's so crazy! Why?
Who's already had at least one retirement party, and it's got me nervous. I don't like it one bit. I'll tell you why. I'll probably also tell this guy why. He is the longest-running Cobra of the show, maybe best known for his depictions of the tall ships. I overheard some people talking about him at the Eagles the other day.
I'm flying in hot for that hottie.
He's Andrew Welsh, and he's joining me right now. Good morning, my friend.
Was that an actual eagle that said that about me? Is that why they're flying in?
Yes, that exactly.
That makes total...
Speaking of birds, Andrew.
Yeah. Oh, you're drinking from your Peta mug. So they didn't swap it out with the Peta hat that you wanted instead?
No, I was kind of hoping that they had heard that and they were going to send me the hat.
Didn't you actually even request it? So Peta reached out to you recently and said, "Hey, we heard that you've
got a theory about this." By
yes,
the way.
I do. Yes, I indeedly do. So you got a note from some PR person, some press person, I would say, at Peta, saying, "Hey, we heard that you have been employing those idioms that we changed that involve animals, but we made them less cruel on animals." This is something we've been talking about for 10 years now. I fell in love with this idea. Instead of killing 2 birds with 1 stone, the mug that you have says feeding 2 birds with 1 scone. This was something that Peta had encouraged us all to try.
Don't say feed a dead horse, say feed a fed horse.
Which I like, feed a fed horse. They didn't have
That's my least favorite of them, by the way.
I don't mind that one. They have not adopted my entry into the canon, which would be I don't have a Doug on that flight.
Which I think is
it's wonderful.
Elite level.
But anyway, so they reached out to you and said, hey, we heard you've been using this. We'd like to thank you. You've been using our terminology, so we're going to send you a mug that says feed 2 birds with 1 scone. And you were telling me about this on the show a couple of weeks ago, and you said the thing is, I've been looking at their gift shop, and while the mug is fine, there's some other things in the gift shop I'd rather have, right?
Yeah.
Like there was what did the hat say? Did it just say PETA on it that you wanted?
No, did it say who let the Dougs out? No.
That would be good.
I forget now what was on. I don't think it said PETA, because one of the things that I pointed out was to actually wear a PETA hat around, to me, means I better have my, I better be treating animals as ethically as possible. I better not have leather on my shoes. You know what I mean? Like, that's really representing yourself as a, in my mind, a real champion of the, of our non-human friends. And so anyway, whatever it was, I just thought it was I think it was an animal of some kind. I just liked it.
Oh, it did have an animal on it. Yes. And I don't know if a lot of people don't know this, but PETA is a somewhat controversial organization. And I saw some listeners chattering about it, saying, oh, I don't like PETA. They have some really bad policies people don't know about. You and I've mostly stayed out of that. But I did see one interesting thing in this conversation that people were having online about it, which was apparently PETA also reached out to our friends over at...
Text me back.
Text me back. I want to say.
By the way, the hat says Rat Pack.
Oh,
it's got a rat
and it's got a cute rat on it. Yes. Sorry, I was blanking it. Text me back for a second. How insulting. Anyway, I was listening to that this weekend, by the way. But anyway, so apparently they also reached out to text me back.
They were on stage with me when you were at Vaughn's.
What are they like? Anyway,
you know what? They're exactly the way you'd hope they would be.
Oh, good. I'm so glad to hear it. But no, I do love them. But apparently, if PETA reached out to them and also offered a mug or something, my guess is something that is related to something I've been
Why
seeing.
Why do you have to take this away from me? I thought I was the number one podcaster amongst extreme animal rights people.
You have the right to accuse me of sour grapes here because I have what they call sour grapes. Because I feel like I have been, of the two of us, I feel like I've been the larger champion. Like, PETA-ness aside, I just like the wordplay, and I feel like I've been a pretty big champion of using these new phrases, not out of any kind of radicalism, but just because it seems fun to me, and I like it. And I'm like I said before, offering my own contributions to the new dictionary that we will all follow someday. But anyway, so obviously I'm over here burning, and I'm just looking for a way. I'm looking. I don't know if there's a word for that. I'm looking for a way to take this joy away from you, Luke.
And it's working, because what happened was, and I can't log into my work email because I hate Gmail so much I can't even tell you. We have our @TBTL accounts, but somehow I still have to use Gmail to get to my @TBTL account.
Yeah, it is it's run through Gmail, yeah.
It's locking me out. But anyway,
why is it locking you out, though?
I don't know, because look, when I go to gmail.com, which is how I get to it says sign in. I click sign in. It says Luke@tbtl.net. Choose an account. I choose that account. Then it says enter your password. And it is supposed to be remembering my password from my fingerprint, but it doesn't remember my password. It's when I hit my fingerprint, whatever, and then I hit next, and then it says, wrong password, try again, or click forgot password for more options. This is a personal battle I have with Gmail. It's always trying to log me in under weird burner accounts, and I have issues with Livewire because they use Google Docs, and it's always like, you don't have editing access. But all that is to say, what I was trying to check was the exact back and forth with me and this guy named Wes, because one of the things I did was asked him, how did you get this number? Like, how did you find out about TBTL mentioning it? And I said, oh, a listener must have tipped you off. And he said, no, you have something like, he goes, no, we've got a few people here at PETA that listen to your show. Mm-hmm. That's what he said.
I remember that. You texted that, or you emailed that during the broadcast, I think, right?
Exactly.
You got a response right away.
Yeah, this show is a living, breathing organism, and things are happening all the time in real time. But I was sort of chuffed by that news. I liked the idea of us having fans back there. But then your theory is that because they also sent a mug to Lindy and Megan, and got a little earned media over there as well.
According to a listener, they addressed it on their show as well, and we're not into accepting the gift apparently because they are not big fans of PETA. But
they're also anti-PETA.
What it got me thinking was we've been getting all these press releases recently, and these are the types of pitches we've gotten, of course, as media people our entire professional lives, but just saying, hey, I'm a big fan of fill in the blank show that you work on. I've been getting these as a producer of public radio shows or working on this show or what have you, and my other podcast. And for years, they've always tried to make it sound like they know more about your show than they actually do, as sort of a way of getting in. And lately, we've been getting these like somewhat awkward, and I would say over the past year or so, these somewhat awkward emails are kind of like, hey, I really enjoyed your conversation about X, Y, or Z. And they like pick out one or two specific things as if in the opening graph, as if to say, we're real. We really listen to this show. Now, how about you have our guest on who has nothing? Literally, I got one the other day that was something like, we heard you mention animals kissing. Well, how about you have our animal expert on or something along those lines, although it's usually more of a stretch than that. But what I realized was these podcasts that we do now, which we used to just record an hour and a half of gibberish like this, throw it out on the internet, and somebody would have to listen to the whole thing to know what's inside of it. It's all being transcribed now automatically by, well, I'm sure these communications companies might have their own devices to do it, but also you can just log into Spotify and see a transcript. And also you can, I don't know if Spotify is transcribing it, but it's definitely dividing our show up into chapters, some of which are
tearing our show apart.
So hilarious. One of them the other day, somebody sent me was something like Luke and the Lonely Potato or something like that, which I don't even know how we got really onto that. But clearly what they're doing, and I'm guessing what PETA is doing, is just doing some sort of a search and scrubbing the internet for podcasts and other publications that are using their terminology, and then maybe reaching out to those, podcasters like us or whatever, and saying, hey, we want to give you a mug. That's my guess. It could be that you have a lot of fans at PETA, Luke. I don't want to take that away from you, but maybe it's both.
Yeah, I'm texting right now with Lindy and Megan to find out if PETA is bad. They said they're beefing with PETA right now. They said, we mentioned that list of alternative sayings they put out. Oh, come on. Welcome to the party.
Yeah.
Text me backers.
Tell them about mine.
Okay.
No, don't.
But yeah, so I think you're probably right. I think it was always unlikely that we had a huge fan base that back there. And it is probably more a very, again, I would say well-constructed bit of earned media play from these folks. And that's something they're very good at. And look, I don't want to litigate this now because I don't know all the facts, and I don't think you know all the facts. We know that some people don't like them. I would say generally that, in my experience, the perfect being the enemy of the good is a problem, and I will give PETA credit for at least injecting into the conversation at least a little bit more talk around like, hey, what's going on with the animals? And I think of that as a net positive. So that's kind of where I stand on this. Admittedly, somewhat underinformed. Admittedly, not a fan really of any of the design of this mug. Andrew.
No, speaking of fonts, which we'll get into later,
we're talking Garamond.
They really blew out their font budget on that. I'm pretty interested. If you don't mind me, maybe you're already dead, and I'm boring you back to death with this. But I did find the email that I sent you the other day that I just think is such a good example of clearly this is AI scanning, or what they used to call it, the kind of scraping the internet for certain keywords and then reaching out to us using an AI template. Like clearly, I mean, everything we know about AI communication. In fact, I have a friend who listens to the show, so she will remain nameless, but she will also often send me screen caps of the fellas that she's talking to on the dating apps. And she's pretty familiar with the dating apps, but she's like identifying, she's like, look at this AI generated stuff. And she's always calling them out. She's like, you're using ChatGPT. And they're like, how did you know? And she's picking out stuff that I wouldn't have noticed. I'm pretty unfamiliar with the way people talk on those apps anyway, because as far as anybody knows, I'm not on them. But anyway, this one to me is so I got this email from, I won't use her full name because I did Google her, and she does seem to be a real person. And it says, "Hey, Andrew, I could not stop smiling when you described your neighborhood's official coyote watch in the latest episode. And the prairie dog's kissing photo was an absolute treat." And I'm like, what in the world are you talking about? And I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I remembered the coyotes. There's a bunch of coyotes in the cemetery that I live by, and my neighbors are rightfully worried about that. That might have even been, well, no, I don't know how it came up, but it came up because our neighbors are freaking out about these coyotes. Then the prairie dog's kissing photo. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, later on in that show, we were talking about animals kissing, right? And the history of kissing.
Right.
And
so they think where they think it started.
And I actually was kind of bummed that day. I couldn't think of a good photo to use. Nothing organic came up in the conversation to use on our website. So I was like, let me find a rights-free photo of animals kissing. So I found prairie dogs. I don't even remember what it looks like. I vaguely remember cropping it, and I'm making sure that we were allowed to use it. But this is such a weird sentence. "I could not stop smiling when you described your neighborhood's official coyote watch in the last episode, comma, and the prairie dog's kissing photo was an absolute treat. It got me thinking about how much animals in our lives, whether wildlife or our own companions, shape our neighborhoods and daily adventures." You'll like this, Luke. "I especially loved Luke's throwback to those 1990s awareness campaigns and how local critters seem to generate so many stories worth sharing." That's exactly.
Did I say that?
This is so clearly like.
Yeah.
It's been kind of transcribed or summarized clearly by. That sounds like one of those Spotify chapters.
Yeah.
1990s awareness campaigns and how local critters seem to generate. I'll bet you if we find that show on Spotify has called it the 1990s awareness campaigns chapter of our show or something.
I bet you're right. You know what's crazy?
Yep.
I'll let you finish.
Oh, I was just going to say, and then I won't even go into pitch this person. I don't want anybody specifically targeted here. But then they're pitching an executive producer at Animal Zone to come on the show and talk about his pit bull or something like that. If you ever wanted to riff about coyote antics, animal advocacy, or even the art of keeping all those creatures hydrated, this would make a memorable episode. I'm just gonna wow, that was really, I believe ChatGPT did almost all of the work there.
And by the way, did a vastly better job than most of the PR humans that I've dealt with in my life. That's
from
the
1995 through 2000.
I mean, that is the crazy part, is that is actually, that's actually a much better pitch than, wouldn't you say 95% of the pitches that we get?
That we used to get before all the AI was in there, you mean?
Now, because here's what my inbox is full of. Again, I'm not able to access it, but it's incredibly general press releases and emails that are not even like the person. And I've complained about this before. It's like, if you're going to send us an email trying to get your person on our show, take 5 minutes and listen to the show. And then you could reference specifically a couple things we said, or you could understand what kind of show we do. It's amazing to me how little effort goes into these pitches most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And here we have somebody who's harnessed AI to go and scrape the internet for some detail about our show. And to be honest with you, that was, I think, a much better pitch than most of the ones that land in my inbox anyway, that are from a human being who just hasn't bothered to listen to the show.
I can't find any more because I guess I have my trash empties too often, so I can't find any more. I do get a lot I got a lot that are in that style now. I don't know if I'm getting a lot of total generic ones. I mean, whatever. I have speaking of Gmail, I have 3 different Gmail accounts for the different podcasts I work on, and they're all getting spammed by this kind of stuff these days. But there has been way more of a push, at least that I've seen, of like trying to make it sound like, hey, I know who you are. I listened to the episode where you said lonely potatoes.
Well, Andrew, I have some bad news for me.
Oh, no.
It sounds like you're exactly right. I've been having a side conversation with Megan and Lindy, and it sounds like exactly what happened to us happened to them. I said, I think they are just scraping the transcripts of all the podcasts with AI to find mentions. And Megan said, and I said, then pretending to listen to the show. And Megan said, I think so. Yes. Ha, exactly. I said, did someone named Wes say he was listening?
Mm-hmm.
Megan, all caps, yes, 4 exclamation points. And then Megan says, and he messaged us within like an hour of the episode coming out.
Oh, really?
And then Megan said, not very ethical, in my opinion. And I said, effing Wes. And then I said, people for the unethical treatment of podcasters.
Ooh, I
and
like
Megan
that.
said, now I am going to beat a dead horse, which I think that was over the line. But
can we name our show that? People for the unethical treatment of podcasters?
Sure, why not? But I'm now wondering if Wes is even real, Andrew.
I will say that email that I read to you, I did do Googling on the person who sent it, whose name is in the signature, and she has bopped around. But in all of these and I'm guessing that she will not hear this unless, if I said her name, I'll bet you it could get back to her through some sort of scraping system. But she's somebody who has worked for a couple of different PR houses where all of the people sort of look alike and just like very woman of a certain age working in PR and kind of writing articles that are press releases that get published in like very local kind of micro blogs and stuff like that, and works for a couple of firms here and there, but just sort of churns out kind of, well, I guess I would just say meaningless trash.
But I would just say the fact that Wes was emailing them 1 hour after their show posted. Either he is the world's biggest text me back fan, just going refresh.
Yeah.
Or best case scenario, he's getting an alert.
Yeah, I'll bet you.
Worst case scenario, he ain't even real. He is also a bot that is programmed to send a very cordial email when he is alerted from some scraping system that Peta has been mentioned.
I don't want to call him. I don't think you've ever mentioned his full name on the show, but I do see somebody who works on. So this is on LinkedIn. So unless people are going so far as to make fake LinkedIn for fake employees, which I don't think we're there yet in most. But I think Sports Illustrated might be doing that. But if this is there is a Wes who works at PETA who's a press officer with last name begins with a B. I don't know if that means
good. At least I'm not able to access my email. Can the AI help me get back into my TBTL email account?
I'm on Wes's Instagram page now, by the way. Looks like a sweet guy.
Okay, good. I'm glad. Listen, I still think he lied to me by saying there are a lot of listeners to our show at PETA, which hurts. But I'm glad at least it was a human lying to me and not a sentient bot lying to me. Can you imagine the programming is, okay, it's all this, sort of if-then propositions, and it's like, if the host says, how did you hear about it? Then you say to them, oh, you have many listeners here at PETA.
Right.
It's just taking me down this like decision tree of responses from a bot, and I'm walking around 10 feet tall being like, we're the #1 show at PETA.
Well, I don't know how self-conscious you feel about this. I don't even know how self-conscious I feel about this, but it seems now, if we're right about everything that we've said, if they're just scanning for mentions of PETA or getting alerts, like I'm guessing this would pique Wes's interest, right? If Wes is getting an alert every time PETA is mentioned,
find out.
And now
Andrew,
he's getting PETA
and
Wes.
we wait.
And now we wait. We've laid our podcastery trap.
Will he hear it before we even posted the show?
That would be incredible.
Did we accept those cookies that as this is being, is Riverside, Andrew, as we're talking to each other, is Riverside allowed to in real time transcribe this and sneak it out the back door to companies that would like to scrape this information for some sort of a financial benefit?
Oof. Do you remember that time I thought we were live because I didn't know how to use the
I've never
Riverside.
seen you more afraid of anything.
We were practicing using Riverside to stream live for an upcoming live broadcast we were doing. I think that was our Tradio show. And we had never used our Riverside system in that way. We usually just use it to connect and record to do these pre-taped shows that we do every day. And not pre-taped, but not live streamed. And I was messing around with it, figuring out how it worked. But then by entering that world of live streaming, apparently Riverside was defaulting to that. And you and I were doing a sound check. This is last year, right? Or something like that. And all of a sudden it said, we're streaming live. And I freaked out. I hadn't freaked out like that probably since I worked in a radio station and thought I did something wrong.
You know what? That I have to retract something that I said during a Hey Dummies video, which, by the way, I'll send you one of those this week.
Oh, yeah. That'd be good.
Tiara asked if we'd ever had a hot mic moment, and I said no, but I guess technically that was a hot mic moment, although I don't think anybody saw it or heard it.
I don't think, that is the one thing is I think it triggered it live, but I don't think it was actually. I think there was some other safety measure. I think it was stopped at the YouTube level or something like that. So I don't think anybody would have even been able to. But in that panicky moment, I had no idea. And I had just been talking so much crap about Tierra specifically. Remember, I was just unloading on you.
You scorched the mic. It was not even hot mic. It was melting in your hand.
It was so hot. And I'm just glad she didn't hear it.
Did I tell you that I am now sort of getting home delivery of the New York Times on Sunday because of a weird deal they were offering me?
Oh my God. I think I took that deal years and years ago. You get like a good price on digital if you get the Sunday delivered.
Yes. I don't understand that business model at all. But first of all, I am now 100% converted to the New York Times cooking situation, by the way. I made this vegetable soup last night that I got from there, and it's so convenient. I mean, I was a holdout for many years, and you and Television's Chris Hayes were like, "What's wrong with you? Just pay $2 more." And I see why.
That's what you're a holdout. I didn't even realize that we had to pay more for the New York Times cooking app and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's that's the premium account. That's the premium plus account, includes texting. So I didn't have that. I was just give me the news and save all your games and your whatnot. But then I decided to upgrade because mostly I wanted The Athletic. I wasn't getting that either, and I kept getting paywalled. So I upgraded, and now, by the way, that cooking app is phenomenal because you see something you want to make, and then you just hit save the recipe, and then it's in the app, and then you're at the grocery store, and you got your whole list of ingredients, and you can favorite them, and they got a whole list of things you want to make that's in one part of the app, and the things you have made, it's in the. It's just very, very convenient. The next step for me is probably going to be to get a dedicated tablet computer in my kitchen for the purposes of recipes and cooking and things like that. But anyway.
I was thinking about that this weekend, if you don't mind me jumping in here, because I was cooking a couple of things this weekend that I need to follow the recipe pretty closely. Even things I've made a million times, I like to have the recipe there, but I'm always using my phone for that. And I've just gotten used to it. I don't even think about it, because I'm usually using my phone in the kitchen to listen to a podcast through a Bluetooth speaker. The phone's there anyway. I'm scrolling through. This weekend, though, I was making something for a party, and it was something I'd never made before, which, by the way, that is like my first rule of cooking is don't do that. Like, do not cook a recipe for the first time for others.
Yeah, that's rolling the dice.
Right.
Really rolling the dice.
And so I kind of cornered myself into doing this, and I tried it. It was these chicken satay skewers I wanted to take to this party. And they ended up being really, really good, by the way. It was so satisfying that but I had to make like a special peanut sauce that went along with it, and I had to like kind of take some of the stuff over to the house to kind of finish the prep there or whatever. It was a whole thing. I had to wear a cooking shirt before at the very last minute changing into my party shirt. Luke, you would have been proud of my whole
I love a good costume change.
Oh, a costume change right out the door while with keeping the chicken hot as we leave. But all that is to say, for that chicken satay recipe, I was like, I better just print this thing out. I pulled a real Burbank, and I was like, I have an iPad downstairs. I call him Dartbot. I mostly just use it for recording podcasts with Genevieve and for scoring my dart games. But I remember that one of the selling points of an iPad for me way back in the day was, I would see these photos of people in their nice kitchens just scrolling on their dedicated iPad for recipes. Why am I not using that instead of my phone? And I was really tempted. So anyway, I just wanted to say that I'm relating to this conversation, and you're going to move in that direction.
I'm tempted, Andrew, because, well, first of all, this is my current system. I print out a recipe, and then for some bizarre reason, I will tape it up to one of the cabinets in my kitchen, but I use that like blue kind of like painter's tape.
Yeah.
For some reason, I still have a roll of that.
No, that's pretty good though, right? Because it's pretty safe too.
Yeah, it doesn't like stick to the cabinets or whatever. It doesn't leave anything behind. But it's just this. If you were to happen into my kitchen when I'm mid cooking project, you would just see me with like maybe multiple printouts, painters taped up to the cabinets, and then I pull them down, and then it's like I kind of sort of save them, but some of them I throw out. It's a very bad system. So I think, and the reason I can't use my phone, Andrew, is because the print is too small. I can't see stuff on my phone now very well unless I'm wearing my glasses, which then I can't see stuff that's like 7 feet away. Like if I have the glasses on, I can read my phone, but then I can't it impedes my vision for things that are a little further away, right?
Yeah,
I need some kind of like, I don't know if it's bifocals or
progressives like I have.
Progressives or something. So that's just a sad reality of my life right now is that I am now a person who's like, if I don't have my glasses on, I'm not really reading this phone real well. So I wanted to do a tablet of some kind, and I'm tempted to just get like a super cheapo, like $100 job, instead of like an official iPad, because I don't plan on taking this anywhere. I don't plan on it being how my movie experience works or anything. I just want to be able to basically look at recipes on there. But they do have me trapped in the Apple verse, and I kind of feel like I wonder if there's any kind of connectivity or if things will be easier. Like I'm on the iOS app on my phone. Would it be easier to just have the iOS app on the tablet or something? I don't know.
I'm on Epicurious. You ever go to Epicurious, another wonderful food site? The best kitchen tablets for online recipes and all your digital needs.
Thank you. I was going with what Wirecutter was telling me.
Oh, what are they saying?
They're saying the iPad, but like iPads are expensive now. Like I'm looking at ones that are just like, I don't even need it to have cellular. I'm not planning on taking it. I can just live on the Wi-Fi at my house.
Me too,
it's like they want like $400 or $500.
Yeah, I'm seeing actually again. This article is from 2021, I think. So, but it is basically saying, oh yeah, an iPad. Thanks, Epicurious. What else you got for me?
I have an
Fire
iPad, but
HD tablet. Okay.
I have an iPad, but it's so old that when I tried to turn it on, first of all, I had to go and on the internet and buy the power plug-in for it. It's one of those weird,
long flat one. I had a Gen
long
1
flat.
too.
It was a long
or
flat.
Maybe I had a Gen 2, but yeah, I don't even think those things fit phones, right? Do they just fit iPads and iPods? Those are the same things we would drop our iPods onto and on one of those speaker systems.
Yes, I had to buy one of those, which I now have that input, and then I charged it up, and it was like I was going to need to perform some kind of factory reset. I don't know if it can really like kind of handle any of the new modern apps and stuff. Like probably I could. I can tell you who would make this work. Walt. My dad would 100% figure out how to like revive this thing. Oh my God. A listener, I think it was our friend Sarah of Magpie Mouse fame on the show.
Great.
She sent me, she DM'd me on Instagram a post that she had seen somewhere on the internet, and it's somebody talking about their parents. By the way, this guy, I think his name might be Dave McNamee. His handle is 7-Eleven Truther, which, first of all, it's a good handle.
I do think that's a great handle.
This is so 100% my lived experience. He said, my parents are on streaming services you have never heard of. My mom will call me and say, we just watched the Beef Butter Mysteries. It's on Pinecone TV.
That's great.
Beef Butter Mysteries. 100%. A DVD my mom would check out from the library and then be regaling me with.
Yes. Boy,
Anyway.
I am really disappointed in the internet right now. Like, there's all these cooking sites are kind of like the best tablets for cooking, and all they do is list the brands. Oh, really? You're saying I should get one from Google, Amazon, or Apple? Oh, thanks. Good thing I turned to you.
What
internet.
a recommendation.
Well, I was hoping that, like, I don't think I have to worry about Genevieve listening to this show, but like I wanted to get Genevieve a new e-reader for Christmas this year, which I have secured one now. But we aren't an Amazon household anymore. She'd always had Kindles before, but we don't. Once you buy that, then you're buying from the Kindle store and you're continuing to support a company that we don't want to support. So I had to look around at various options, but like there are fewer options than you would think. It's all just, you know what I mean? I thought that I did find one that's going to be a little bit better, but also you don't want something so niche that it doesn't work broadly speaking. You know what I mean? You need something that can interact with the world. Like, I got this special iPad for you or e-reader for you, and it's not connected to any of these big companies. But the problem is, you can only read about Mr. Toad. Like that's the way.
You can only watch the Beef Butter Mysteries.
You can only watch the Beef Butter Mysteries, season 1 and 3. So anyway.
Episode 4 from season 1.
But it's sort of like the marketplace does not seem to have room, or it's not financially there's just you can't work out the finances to create something that goes against these huge companies. You know, like you can't find something that's more, I don't want to say bespoke because that's the wrong word there, but something that is not like connected to Amazon or Microsoft or Apple or Google or any of those.
Yeah, exactly. It can't be artisanal.
No, nobody can
It can't
compete.
be from like a small Portland startup.
Yeah,
you've got to
right.
have, it's got to be broadly working within all these other systems. So anyway, well, me, there's very little time between when I have the thought of wanting to acquire something, Andrew. This is a record for me, by the way. I've been wanting to get this tablet for the kitchen for probably almost a month now. So, I kind of got an L on the whole PETA thing, finding out that I'm not their favorite podcaster. It's just that they're scraping the internet for mentions. But I think I'm getting a W on that I didn't literally buy an iPad on the day this occurred to me. I really am trying to be kind of, smart about it and maybe not overpay. Maybe I don't, maybe figure out if I need all of the robustness of like one of these iPads or something. So that's growth for me, that it's been almost a month that I've been sitting with this idea and haven't acted on it.
I am like a guy talking to his friend who recently...
Yeah, I believe the premise of this show.
I'm like a guy who's talking to his friend who recently stopped drinking. And I'm going to dangle a beer in front of you right now, which is like the worst thing. But during this conversation, aside from the iPad itself, which you'll decide on and get, I'm wondering if you're going to find some sort of really fancy, like sort of
stand.
Not just a stand, but I could see it on some sort of like arm in your kitchen, or like somehow like it kind of mounted. I'm looking at some of these photos of beautiful kitchens. They're sort of mounted on something that you can sort of adjust or something like that. I could see you going hog wild on that.
I've seen those stands that all kinds of different. I mean, I will probably just go with just the low-key triangular thing that, allows it to be sort of upright and you just put it on your counter. Because my kitchen is very small, actually. So I don't have room for like another, because some of them are crazy. Some of them are like a full-on TV screen that's on like a narrow stand that just like sits in your kitchen. I feel like that would be something I'd be bumping into constantly.
What about one of those little robots that follows you around with an iPad on top or a computer on top?
What happened to that? I feel like that came and went.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
Like a couple of Christmases ago, it was like, Oogie, meet Oogie, your new family friend, and he was like had big eyes and was following people around in these like whatever it was, Amazon videos or some shit.
And didn't it seem like we'd see him in workplaces too? Like these things were going to be like buzzing around on wheels with and like your boss's head was going to be on a laptop on top or something.
And I feel like that really fell off. Now we're just doing the Boston Dynamic dogs with Elon Musk's hyper-realistic face on it by Beeple.
Oh, God. By the way,
Did you see that from Art Basel?
I don't think so. I know the dogs you're talking about, and I think I can picture.
There was an art
talking
installation at Art Basel that was a bunch of those dogs, but they were, I think, painted flesh color, and the heads were hyper-realistic masks of like Bezos, Elon, and other billionaires. Maybe Peter Thiel was on there, and like. I'm not saying it was incredibly high art, but it was weirdly effective for me. Like, I actually thought it kind of was interesting.
Does it say whether or not they get along with cats? Because Vives and I are still looking for a dog, and the number one thing is that it will get along with cats.
Imagine someone comes over and you have one of those Boston Dynamic hell dogs. Hey, this is Elon. It's just got an Elon Musk head on it, and it just like ambles over to them. Oh, he's nice. He's nice.
Yes.
Don't worry.
Does your
Elon down?
Does your
down.
Elon
He's
bite?
just excited. He's just excited right now. By the way, nothing is less reassuring than when your poorly behaved dog is doing something to me, and you're telling me he's just excited.
Why? So, because you mean that as in sexually excited, or
no? I mean just generally, like, and I'm somebody who's owned now or been. Well, let me see. WWPD. What would PETA do? Well, they'd lie and say that they listen to the show. That's the first thing they would do. No, but like, I was going to say dog ownership versus dog mentorship. I've had dogs that are like, were the kind of dogs that would jump on people. So I can't really talk on this. But like, I've had many experiences in my life where a dog is jumping up on me. I come over to someone's house. maybe I'm dressed semi-nicely. Maybe it's a dinner party. Maybe I've also done an outfit change. And the dog is jumping up on me or something. And the person, instead of getting the dog off, is like, oh, he's just excited. Or sometimes it's, the dog might have kind of long claws or talons or fingernails and it's kind of like on you and it's not the most comfortable thing. And people will say, oh, he's just excited. It's like, well, that's not really helping me in this situation. Why don't you get the dog off of me?
It's like if somebody is harassing you and it's like, oh, don't worry about him. He's just drunk. It's like, well, that doesn't really...
that doesn't solve the problem. Let's go ahead and get him off of me right now.
Yes.
That's great that he's excited, but I would like him to not be on me.
Thank you, baby.
All right, let's thank some donors. What you are listening to, my friends, is 100% listener-supported podcasting. That's how we pay for this. We don't have any big advertisers. We don't have any dark money behind us. It's a highly transparent organization that is supported by folks like Jamie Bever of Seattle, Washington.
Thank you, Jamie. Now, I did hear this is via John. I can't say for sure that this is true or not, but apparently Jamie did take a marker and color the money sent in a very dark color. So there is a chance there is some dark money at play here. Just a little bit. Yeah, sorry, not to undercut you.
I thought when you said took a marker, because I'm a degen, I thought that you meant went to the casino and got an advance from the cage, aka marker, and then won big and then donated the money to TBTL.
We'll also take that. We'll also take that.
Also, Lindsay Slaker is in Madison, Wisconsin. Beautiful Madison, Wisconsin.
Hey, thank you.
Likely very cold right now out there. Hope you're staying warm, Lindsay. A place that is less cold is Los Angeles, California, where we find Abigail Sherlock.
Hey.
Checking in and donating and supporting the show. Thanks, Abigail.
Thank
you. Really nice of you. As is it very kind of Melissa Schwartow, who's in Seattle, Washington. You know that place pretty well.
I know it pretty well. It's raining here right now, and it's going to be for the next several days.
It's actually, believe it or not, here perched high above the mighty Columbia. It has stopped raining for a moment, and I'm hoping I get another window like this after the show because I am going to go full Clark Griswold and try to put up some Christmas lights today.
Outside the house, on the outside of the house?
Outside the house. If I don't put them up today, if much more time goes by, I will have put them up so that they could be on my house for like a week, which feels like so much of a time investment for such a little R on my OI. So I've got to get them up stat, or else it will be totally not worth it.
That is true. So tomorrow will mark exactly 2 weeks away from Christmas.
Yes, and I feel like 2 weeks is enough enjoyment to get out of them, but less than 2 weeks, and it's almost not worth it.
You were right about Thanksgiving being late this year. It just had never occurred to me. Obviously, I know Thanksgiving kind of moves around because it's always on a Thursday, so the date itself changes. I know this because of the proximity to my birthday and everything, but it never occurred to me that like it swings so far that we have at various times a week's difference between Thanksgiving and Christmas. That had never, ever occurred to me before. Maybe because these aren't these aren't top of mind things for me. But Vives and I are going to go get our Christmas tree on Saturday, and it didn't occur to me that's less than 2 weeks of a tree before Christmas.
So you don't have your tree up yet?
No, we've been kind of waiting, and I do think the late Thanksgiving maybe played into this. But we are going to go on Saturday afternoon.
I did get a gingerbread house that I'm going to be constructing at some. I could build it on the air, actually.
Yeah. Are you? It's actual gingerbread, and they make kits now.
It's a kit. I got it at Trader Joe's.
Nice. That's fun.
That's because I'm having my family over on Sunday for a kind of a sort of low key holiday get together, Seahawk watching thing, and so I've got to get everything kind of spick and span. Although, boy, I'll tell you, Walt is in there working on. We're remodeling this. Like little small bathroom that was the only bathroom in the house when I bought this place. And man, is it ever like the interior of the house right now is in no shape to be hosting anyone. There's tile saws. It looks like Dexter is working in there because we basically like visqueened the entire entryway to the house so that my dad can be cutting tile and not ruining the house. But I told him, I was like, I'm not encouraging you to murder anyone, but if you're going to do it, this is the time. This is the perfect environment for it. But it's just like, there's just stuff everywhere. Not to mention all of the weird dad food that's now in my refrigerator, including strawberry applesauce.
Strawberry.
Did you know that was a product?
No,
strawberry
I haven't bought
applesauce
applesauce in a long time. I ate so much applesauce
Who has?
as a kid. I ate so
My dad
much
is
of it as a kid.
single-handedly keeping the Mott's Corporation. Actually, he doesn't eat Mott's. That's name brand. Whatever
fancy you.
whatever woohoo applesauce he's eating, the man loves applesauce, but not just regular applesauce. Strawberry applesauce?
Well, did you eat a lot of applesauce as a kid?
No, not really. I mean, occasionally, but it wasn't one of my go-tos.
I think we had it a lot as kids. I think because this is going to sound funny to you, but I think it's because we ate a lot of like kielbasa, and I just remember like kielbasa and applesauce kind of going together. I remember actually, this doesn't sound good to me right now as I remember this, but I remember as a kid, like sort of, we would have kielbasa, we'd cut it up on our plate, and then sort of drag a fork full of kielbasa through applesauce.
A little salty and sweet.
Yes, which is maybe I was
feels very
ahead
German
of my time. Yeah, maybe German. Yeah, and I don't have a lot of cultural context for this other than the fact that I did this as a kid a lot, and we ate a lot of applesauce. Anyway, my point is I remember average daily applesauce was yellow, but sometimes on special occasions we'd have red applesauce, and I think it was usually maybe homemade, and maybe that was because there was cinnamon in there. Does any of this ring a bell to you, like having special red cinnamon applesauce?
I don't think that ever made its way into our house. And I remember we had, if we had applesauce, it was the big jar of it or something. And I don't remember really, it's not an unpleasant flavor to me, but it wasn't something that I was particularly interested in. My dad is big on these single serving applesauce containers. That's what he always
I don't
brings.
Like those.
Well, there's this, I'm very particular about like the stuff that's in the house and the stuff that's in my kitchen and all of that. And it's like one of the cabinets that I had all set up. Remember, I was on my whole clear plastic tub organizing trip, and I was really proud of that, really happy with it. Well, this one of these cabinets or cupboards in particular has just been completely sacrificed to the weird foods of my dad. It's got strawberry applesauce in there. It's got Vienna fingers. It's got Oots pretzels.
Oh, I like that. Okay, that's good. What kind? Like little sticks or rods?
No, the not even rods. The the classic pretzel
little
form.
twists.
The twists.
Okay, yeah.
It's got that going on in there. It's just it's a disaster. It's just a bunch of processed food products that I would never let to darken the door. We're going to have an awkward conversation on Saturday because I'm going to have to say, Dad, I need to remove all of your food from where my siblings what they will see when they come over, because I can't have them thinking I'm eating strawberry applesauce.
But first of all, they know your dad. They're familiar, I believe.
They've met a time or two.
Okay, couple of things. Well, we haven't finished
like when his spermazoa was making them.
Oh, dear.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank some of our final donors today, including Alana Sweeney in Brooklyn, New York. That's not the first time Alana's heard that word, and it's medical, and it's okay, Andrew.
I was going to say, I don't like eating applesauce, or I am not the Lunchables generation. I'm a little bit too old for that, I think.
By the way, that would have been a good way to describe that generation.
Yeah,
Is that a term people use?
I don't know, but in other words, I think that some people have a real nostalgia for that.
That's Addie's generation.
But eating out of the plastic to-go things, like the idea of Go-Gurt makes me sick. I mean, obviously, yogurt is not for me anyway, but the idea of eating it out of a tube, all of that.
Would you bring it to a fancy Easter meal though, and then be mad that no one was eating
only if it was a woohoo deal? But aside from that, and again, I don't want to get messing around with telling people how to eat or enjoy their foods, but I guess I'm surprised to hear that we're not keeping this applesauce in the refrigerator, and I don't mean that from a food safety standpoint. I just mean it from a pleasure standpoint. I am somebody who really likes to eat my fruit cold. I don't like any warm fruit, like room temperature fruit as much. And so just taking a single serving applesauce out of a drawer and eating that directly does not appeal to me.
It was a very, to each their own.
Yeah.
But my dad had gone to the Home Depot, or as he calls it, the Home Depot. Mm-hmm. And the Home Depot it shares a parking lot with a Walmart. Okay. So he comes back and he's like, I got some food. And it was just, again, the most random assortment of stuff. It was the pretzels. It was the strawberry applesauce. It was, I'm forgetting some of the other stuff in there, but that's just what he'll, I think there's some kind of a pre-flavored, maple oatmeal kind of a situation going on that he has for breakfast sometimes. it's a lot of seemingly to me random stuff that he sort of grabbed. But yeah, I would like the applesauce more if it was a bit chilled down. But hey, listen, the guy is like 71. I don't know if he's 71 or 72, but he is somehow capable at his age of working like 8 straight hours of manual labor and is basically fine. Like I would die after doing half of that. So whatever his applesauce diet is, it's working.
Does he do it like Popeye? Is he out there when he needs some strength and when he's working? Does he pop one of those open and throw it back and then he gets big muscles?
He squeezes it. It shoots up in the air, but it stays weirdly sort of connected.
Yeah.
But it kind of changes shape. It undulates and it goes right in his mouth.
Okay.
He is cutting down on his cigar smoking too, which
Really?
I'm very happy about.
Oh, that's good.
Very happy. In the summer, I swear he was putting back like 2 or 3 a day. And last night I was like, hey, are you going to have, I was starting to time out dinner. And I was like, are you going to have your cigar? And he goes, I'm not having one. It's too rainy outside. I was like, well, that's a good sign. If he doesn't have one because it's too rainy outside, that makes me think, well, his level of addiction is actually fairly low.
Like it's more environmental. Like, oh, it's a nice night. This is what I do. I sit by the fire in the fall or whatever. But when it's rainy, it's like, I just don't need that. It's not like me when I was a cigarette smoker. And it's like, well, then I got to go find a garage I can smoke in or something because I need my fix.
Yeah, no, he seems to be, it seems to be something that he could kind of take or leave. In fact, I don't know if he's even had one since he's been here. So we're happy about that because we'd like to keep old Walt around as long as we can. And we'd like to also keep Julie Upton around as long as Julie sees fit. Julie is our last donor today. Julie's in Lake Forest Park.
Nice.
And Julie, thank you so much. Thank you to all of our donors today for making TBTL happen. We would not be here without you.
Hello and welcome to Top Story.
I got a real education this morning, Andrew, on what sans serif font even means. I have been looking at that word or seeing that word for, pretty much my entire life. And I never actually, I don't know what I thought it was, but now I kind of know. And it's related to the story from the New York Times. At the State Department, a typeface falls victim in the war against woke. This was written by Michael Crowley and Hamid Al-Aziz. Secretary of State Marco Rubio called the Biden-era move to the sans serif typeface wasteful, casting the return to Times New Roman as part of a push to stamp out diversity efforts. I had no idea any of this was going on. I do appreciate the Times helpfully showing the difference between Times New Roman, which they're going back to, and Calibri, which is what I guess the State Department was using. Now, tell me, you know more about fonts than I do, Andrew. And, what is it? Knolling?
No, that's a photo thing. Oh, kerning. That's the space. That's how you space out characters.
Okay,
if you want to mess around with that. But the serif means it has a little flourish on the ends of the lines that make up the letters. So if you're
like
picturing
the T in Times New Roman has two little kind of things going off of the top of the T.
Right, and then on the bottom, almost like a little base or something. And those serifs can look like various things. And then sans serif, of course, means it's a font that doesn't have those. It's sans. It's without serif. So that's what sans serif
Calibri,
means.
which they were using, doesn't have those serifs. And I guess there is a school of thought that when you have serifs, it can make the page busier and it can make it more difficult for people to read, and particularly people who are visually impaired in some way, or people who are not maybe who suffer with illiteracy or are only partially literate. I guess there was a movement at some point to try to go towards things that didn't have serifs, including this font called Calibri.
Because it's a cleaner, it's like kind of a cleaner look. And I'll say, it never occurred to me the sort of accessibility aspect of this, but it kind of makes sense. I've always been drawn to sans serifs myself. And maybe it is because I don't have the best sight, and maybe because like I think I didn't read the New York Times piece on this. I read whatever was like reprinted in the Seattle Times, which I think was a piece by the Post or something like that. So I didn't have these visual visual guide, so I was sort of Googling along as they were mentioning the various things. But like Calibri is a very clean looking font that doesn't have little hooks on the ends of things.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I am more drawn to that as opposed to the New York Times itself. If you know the font of the New York Times, if you're reading it like on the page and you're not using an e-reader where you've changed it, like that is a very that's called New Times Roman, right? Isn't that what the New York Times uses, New Times Roman?
Yes, I think, and it says in this article I'm reading that is actually New Times Roman is actually, or Times New Roman is based on the Times of London.
Oh, okay. Oh,
or
that's
something. That was
interesting.
where it got its start or something. But it definitely seems. I think it's also what the New York Times is using as well.
That's what I think, and so
it looks like it.
I mean, I don't want to jump ahead here. I found what I learned today in this story shocked me, but it's jumping ahead a little bit.
Sure, go for it.
But it was, and now I need to remember what it was. I don't have the piece in front of me right now, but they were talking about how before the Biden administration made this change, and specifically did make this change under some like kind of DEI guidance for accessibility. Yes. It said 20 years before that change, they were using New Times Roman. And I'm now at an age where I think 20 years, that's a blink of an eye. That's not some huge, long tradition. You know, when I was a kid, I was like, 20 years, you can't change that. It's the way it's always been. But I'm like, 20 years, that was 2005, man. Like that's not some, like, we don't, it's not, so it's not etched in stone or something like that. But what I was shocked was the font that came before time.
That,
it's
Papyrus.
Yes, right. It was Papyrus. No, wasn't it Courier New?
It was Courier New.
Which that shocks me because Courier New is such a basic font. Now, I like it, but basically Courier New sort of looks like a typewriter font. A typewriter font without, and again, that was that has serifs, but it has like blocky
serifs. It's
serifs.
A slab serif.
A slab serif. That's right. It's a
slab serif.
Your wife's new name is Slab Serif. I know we were riffing on different things there, but anyway, yes, I had never heard the term slab serif before, but it makes sense. It is a serif, but it's not like sort of it seems less ornamental than a New Times Roman.
Well, you know what it looks like? It looks like a State Department dispatch from 1945.
Yeah.
5 December 1947, Cairo.
Yes, right? Yeah, like rip and read.
I kind of like it for, accessibility aside, I guess. I actually like Courier New as the official State Department font because, again, it just looks State Department-y to me. It looks like we're sending a red notice to Interpol. Be on the lookout for, whatever. Like, I think that's actually, I like that the font is in keeping with how I perceive the State Department a little bit, but
I agree. And I like that typewriter-y font. That used to kind of, I don't know if I had it as a default font on my programs, but I used to like to type in that because it felt old school. It felt typewriter-y.
Totally.
And I do like it. Although Rubio's statement about changing things back to New Times Roman and everything, it's filled with so much anti-DEI just bullshit that is based on discrimination. It's just so gross. The statement and everything is gross. I have to admit there was one thing that I sort of agreed, or I guess I kind of agreed with the way it was described, which is that these fonts without the serifs, these sans serif fonts, don't work well with the letterhead, which I actually could see that being an issue for my eye. I would say change the letterhead, but I could see okay, we have this letterhead that's very kind of, picture a New York Times headline or something like that that's very serify, and then below it you have this very thin sans serif, like kind of not blocky but very simplified style, and I could sort of see that being a bit of a clash. I would say change the letterhead, but I appreciated that little nod towards aesthetics.
Yeah, I mean, here's what it comes down to for me. Because there was another article that this one linked to. This was written by Daniel Victor. This was written a while ago, talking about. This is January of 2023.
Janual?
the laugh that Nora erupted, because that was the intro tape when I was doing the show at the Hyatt with Nora. It was very gratifying.
Oh, good. I had that muted during that part of the show, so I'm glad to hear it.
So this was kind of back in 2023. Daniel Victor was writing about it, and this is where he was, I believe, maybe interviewing the chief diversity officer at the State Department, a person named Gina Abercrombie Winstanley, was being interviewed by the Times and was saying that this change of this font, Calibri, was going to make it more inclusive. And there was just something that was in the article, which I can't find right in front of me, but basically what the research was for people who have difficulty with reading for whatever possible reason, the sans serif seemed to be easier for them, and it did not seem to in any way be harder for people that didn't have those issues.
Right.
And it's just, to me, that's just, broadly speaking, how all this stuff kind of goes. It's like, it's not harder for me to read Calibri, and maybe it makes it easier for someone else. So let's just do it. It's like, that has to do with terminology that we use and pronouns and all kinds of things in this world. It's like, guess what? It doesn't impact me negatively, and it might impact someone positively. Why not?
And here's the other thing. I mean, these knuckle draggers don't give a shit about fonts. They're just, in the same way Peta's out there scraping the internet for any reference to their name, they're just scraping their archives for anything that had DEI attached to it and then suddenly caring about it.
It's wild to me that they even noticed the font was different.
Well, they didn't. They probably were just like literally searching DEI. What were the changes that were made that were linked to DEI? And it's all trolling. They don't care. They just want me to be mad.
What we can assume from this is that they've literally rolled this had to be the last DEI thing they got to. Because this is really, I mean, you want to talk about the back of the cupboard of stuff. The font.
Yeah. And I'm desperately trying to think of something that is even like lower level than this and then failing as we speak. But you're right. Like, what could be kind of lesser? It's like, well, let's see. I don't want to list all the terrible things.
No, let's not. You want to talk about DEI aimed at trying to be inclusive around age? The Indianapolis Colts have signed Phillip Rivers. 44. Okay, there's like football old, and then there's like in real life old. And I'll be like, oh my God, how long has Justin Herbert been the QB for the Chargers? And it's like, Justin Herbert is 27, but he seems really old to me.
Right.
Okay, 44 is also real life pretty old to be doing anything. Like,
that's very dangerous work.
I say this as a 49-year-old person. Like, 44 in the real world is, if you're lucky, that's middle age. That presumes you're going to get to 88.
Right.
None of us are promised.
Right. And I mean, so let me put this in context. How old is, and I'm asking you this, I don't know if you know off the top of your head, but do you know how old Aaron Rodgers is? He's in his early 40s. Is he 42?
My guess would be Aaron Rodgers is 41.
41?
Maybe he's 42.
But he's not, because he's right now probably the oldest player in the league, I would guess.
The ayahuasca does reverse aging.
That is
How
true.
Old is Aaron Rodgers? Let's see here. 42. Good guess.
42.
Andrew.
Okay,
You're
yeah.
right.
And so Phillip Rivers is going to come in here 2 years older than that. And Aaron Rodgers, as much as I kind of have my distaste for him, like, he's mostly stayed in the game, barring some major, season-ending injuries that happened a couple of seasons ago. But he has stayed in the game. This idea that somebody who's 44 is coming off
and
the
was
couch,
coaching high school football.
This is scary.
I was laughing because the internet, here's what I will give the internet and this GDAI stuff. It's up to date. Is Aaron Rodgers the oldest player in the NFL? The title now belongs to 44-year-old quarterback Phillip Rivers.
There you go.
So, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, say what you want about him. I get the sense he's like a pretty fit, certainly a very fit 42-year-old, and he's still semi-mobile. I mean, that was also kind of one of his things always, was he kind of move around in the pocket and whatever. Like, I saw a picture of Phillip Rivers from sort of recently, and he looks like a guy who's been coaching high school football for the last few years. I mean, Phillip Rivers, rather, was always just kind of this gunslinger. Like, he was always a guy that would just just would throw a lot of passes. He'd fit the ball into a lot of tight windows. He had a strong arm, was not a guy who was known for his mobility, like when he was playing. And here's what I don't like about it. I feel like it's a movie starring Dennis Quaid.
Mm-hmm.
And in the movie where Dennis Quaid is the 44-year-old quarterback who's literally stepping off of their couch, moving off of their couch into a real NFL game, he's going to throw for 360 yards and the Seahawks are going to lose. I don't like this narrative. Well, let me put it this way. If I'm anyone else, if I'm a non-Seahawk fan, I am so rooting for Phillip Rivers to have the game of his life. That is such a more interesting plot line than 44-year-old quarterback looks every bit of 44 out there as, DeMarcus Lawrence strip sacks him for the third time.
Well, that's the thing, too, not to get too much into it, and I can't get too much into it because I don't know the team that well, but I do know that Seattle has a staunch defense, too. I mean, you shouldn't put any 44-year-old up against any NFL defense.
Unsafe at any speed.
Unsafe at any Rivers, for sure. Like,
there you go.
It is, but Seattle especially could put. I honestly, I didn't know where you were going with that analogy. I thought you were going to say this like. So you have Dennis Quaid, and he's the starting QB, but he's rickety and old, and he gets hurt, and then they put in Randy Quaid. I thought that. I honestly thought, I don't know if the two
that
Quaids,
would be amazing.
I don't know if the Quaids have ever acted together before, but I can't ungroup them in my head, and that would be amazing.
42, Star Whacker, Star Whacker,
Star Whacker 64, Star Whacker 64.
Oh my God! Now that is a movie I would watch.
Yeah. Oh, most certainly.
You go from a Randy Quaid, a Dennis Quaid who sort of semi-plausibly could play the sport, to a Randy Quaid who is Cousin Eddie from Christmas Vacation,
right?
And is just out there in an ill-fitting sweater. But of course, he's also got that. He's got that hat that he wears. I think in maybe what's the
ear flaps?
What are the ear flaps? That's more. Doesn't he wear that when he's like in what's the movie Independence Day where he's some kind of
crazy
fighter
be
pilot
right.
or something?
Because I don't think I've seen Independence Day. I've never watched any of those three main disaster movies that are all sort of similar. I've never watched those all the way through. But it's funny because I was picturing him in that hat, but in the Christmas movie. But you're right. That is, he plays it sort of.
I think he's kind of like a. I'm guessing kooky. He's some sort of a crop duster.
Okay.
Literally and figuratively, I could definitely see Randy Quaid doing some crop dusting
on an airplane.
I'm looking at a photo of him. Yeah, he's got the old-timey leather helmet on, and he might even be standing next to an old-timey airplane. So I do love that plot twist of Phillip Rivers, even less ready for NFL brother, having to come in and cover for him.
Yeah.
But I don't, here's the narrative around the Indianapolis Colts that I kind of love, and I'm a little bummed that they've fallen off. I sort of assumed that they would. And by the way, I don't know. Yeah, we're in the Badlands. I think I can talk just a little bit of football if I... So remember that the owner of the Indianapolis Colts passed away. His name is Jim Irsay.
Mm-hmm.
He was a lot. We talked about him on the show. He was in the mold of the owner of the New York Knicks, James, whatever his name is. Who's got his band, the Straight Shooters,
right?
And he always wants to perform at halftime of the Knicks games. And I was talking to somebody who had worked at the Knicks, and he was telling me that when he worked at the Knicks, the main job was keeping the owner of the Knicks from having his band be the halftime entertainment.
You mentioned that in a text chain one time,
and
I was sort of wondering, maybe. But could that potentially be a draw, though?
James
too?
Dolan, by the way,
I only know that name through the stories that you
he
tell.
Basically he inherited Cabletown from his dad, I think.
Right. But could it be could that band playing on the court actually be some sort of a draw, or at least a social media sensation?
Probably. I mean, you got that Chinese lady on the really tall unicycle. I think her name is Red Panda.
Oh, I don't know about any of this.
Who flips bowls and catches them.
This is on the basketball court as
it's a big halftime activity.
Okay.
And you've got the a Chihuahua that makes baskets that I saw at the Portland Trailblazers game. Phenomenal, by the way, phenomenal halftime show. And then it seems like it drops off pretty quick. James Dolan and the Straight Shooters could probably, just for kind of unfortunate reasons, be something that went quote unquote viral. But anyway, Jim Irsay was the same kind of dude. He, I think, inherited, I forget what his dad's company was, but his dad made a bunch of money and bought the Indianapolis Colts back in the day. And then Irsay inherited them. And Irsay was also a guy who really loved music and really loved being involved in music. And I think his dreams of his music career exceeded his natural talent. So he used to do these. He used to pay a bunch of guys to play with him, a bunch of real actual musicians, and then he would also, the story went, pay a bunch of people to come to his shows. Remember that song that he sung standing by a tree, I think at the Washington Monument or something? I believe we played that on the show.
Oh shoot! Is this somehow related to those photos he took with his wife in D.C. as well, like sitting awkwardly on a picnic table, and she's sort of like sitting in his crotch, sort of?
I don't know if that was.
Maybe I'm thinking of something else.
The song was "Blowin' in the Wind" by the Jim Irsay Band, and it's him. I'm just looking at a still shot. This would be a pretty good maybe show pick today. He is standing. He's leaning against a tree with the Washington Monument behind him. Oh, and maybe is he doing the Bob Dylan tune? Unless he wrote his own song called "Blowin' in the Wind."
If you write your own song called, that's what I was going to do. You blew my mind for a second. You're just like, by the Jim Irsay Band, "Blown in the Wind." I'm like, guys, I think that ground might have been covered already, famously.
Yeah, I'm looking at this now. I think it's on Instagram. I don't know if it's going to let me play this, but this is from Jim Irsay. By the way, Jim Irsay's official Instagram is still... Absolutely. Let's see what this is. Let's see if I can make this play. This is
something intuitively out of all the Larry Holler CEO.
This is Jim Irsay talking about, I think, acquiring Kurt Cobain's guitar. Yeah. But this is also billed as, I think, him eventually, maybe he's going to perform "Blowin' in the Wind." Let's just see where this goes.
The counsel I take is through prayer and meditation. You have to be prepared to open yourself up for that. If your ego is blocking it, if you're angry or resentful, the good stuff can't come in.
That was it. That was really unhelpful. Do not SEO. You let me down on that one. This is hashtag "Blowin' in the Wind," hashtag Nirvana, hashtag Teen Spirit, hashtag Nirvana fans. Those were the hashtags that Jim Irsay official was using on his Instagram. Well, point being, Andrew, he passed away, and his daughters have taken over the Indianapolis Colts. And one of his daughters in particular is like so interesting to me. And I don't have her name off the top of my head, but I don't know if you've seen this or if you were still listening to like the Lebertard universe at the beginning of the season. The Indianapolis Colts got off to a really, really hot start.
Yeah, they were undefeated for a long time.
Using a quarterback named Daniel Jones, who, much like Sam Darnold, had been written off by the league and had this kind of amazing turnabout in Indianapolis. He's unfortunately hurt. That's why they're out there signing Phillip Rivers. But one of Jim Irsay's daughters, who's now one of the owners of the team, I should figure out because she's not just Jim Irsay's daughter. She is a person in the world who is running the team, it would seem. I think her name is Carly Irsay Gordon.
She's the one who's on the sidelines?
She's the one who's on the sidelines, and I freaking love this.
I am so hoping, because I saw her on the sidelines, like the other day, maybe I was watching Red Zone or something like that, and I had heard that she's very hands-on, but I kind of didn't know much of the backstory, and I was like, man, I just really hope that she's not a problematic person because it is so badass seeing her on the sidelines.
It is the most badass thing I have ever seen.
Is she not awesome looking there? I mean, dude, she is locked in.
She is so locked in with the headset. She's listening to all of the, I'm going to send you this one picture in particular. Yeah, she has become kind of famous for now standing on the sidelines with a headset on. She's not one of the coaches officially, but she's listening to everything the coaches are talking about. And I don't, as far as I understand, I don't think she's in on any play calling. I don't think she's she's not, in game telling them do something different. But somebody asked her about this, and she said basically, like, if I'm going to own this company and if I'm going to make really important decisions around payroll and coaching, et cetera, I need to know what's going on. Mm-hmm. And it is that is an amazingly interesting approach. Again, I don't know if it would be great if you had her trying to, in the game, tell the coaches do this, not that. Mm-hmm. That might get things a little muddied. Mm-hmm. But as far as just like her understanding deeply and on a granular level this product that they're putting out and what's working and not working, and the fact that they got off to that hot start, I was loving it.
That's cool.
I just loved it as a narrative. And she seems to me to sort of be like the reverse of Bill Belichick's partner, who seems to be meddling in a lot of things and making most things worse that she's associated with.
but it's also because this is her responsibility.
Yeah, she owns the team.
This isn't like somebody who has no experience in this field and is glomming on to a vastly
or is doing adult cheerleading competition.
That's right. And
have you see those pictures?
Yes.
You want to talk about a hostage video?
Oh my God!
Bill Belichick at an adult cheerleading competition.
Jordan, what's her name? We got to give
Hudson.
her Jordan Hudson. Yeah.
That his partner Jordan Hudson is performing in adult cheerleading.
Yeah.
Those are some remarkable photos.
He's just sitting there in this like auditorium, just looking grumpy as hell on like a folding chair amongst the other
default setting,
amongst the other dads, basically.
Yeah. Anyway, I am so this Carly Ursay Gordon plotline. I really want the Colts to be good. First of all, they're a likable franchise, and I just love the idea that because there's just. I would say that, generally people who maybe inherit an NFL franchise, first of all, I'm jealous of them that their parents gave them a franchise or that their parents left them a franchise. And who knows just what it's like to grow up with that amount of wealth and that amount of privilege, et cetera. And you could just be somebody who phones it in. You could just kind of cash the checks or whatever. But the idea that Carly Ursay Gordon is like taking this so seriously and that they were winning, I love the idea that she could be the new model for like what NFL ownership looks like. And again, I know nothing about her politics, so I don't know if she supports PETA or not. Don't come for me. Listen, you know what? Do come for me. I can't even check my TBTL email, people.
Right, yeah. For some reason I can't get into my email. I
can't hurt me. I'm already dead.
I need you to explain something to me.
Please.
Because there's these conversations I kind of fumble my way through because I can't remember all of these team owners that these quirky team owners. You said the one was from the Knicks. Oh, by the way, I looked it up. Good news, Red Panda is back. Red Panda fell this summer.
Red Panda got hurt
during a WNBA game, but just returned, it looks like, during a Bulls game. So that's cool.
Yes.
I was unfamiliar with Red Panda until you
Shout
mentioned
out Red Panda
a moment ago. But we heard that you are talking about animals on your show. We would like to have Red Panda on. I'd have Red Panda on. But
I
anyway,
would totally have Red Panda on.
This whole time you're talking about Jim Irsay. You were mentioning the owner of the Knicks. Is that right?
James Dolan.
James Dolan. I thought that Irsay, maybe it's Dolan. Do one of these guys, because I just looked up Jim Irsay and he doesn't look like what I was picturing him, the guy with the weird bangs.
No, that's Al Davis's son, Mark Davis.
Who's Mark Davis?
He owns the Raiders.
See, I can't keep any
the Bull
these
Cut
guys. The Bull.
And the Raiders.
Oh yes, okay, Mark Davis. I can't keep any of these quirky owners except for Ballmer because I know him through other means. I can't keep them straight.
Yeah, it's like. I mean, Mark Davis is just well, I understand why you wouldn't be able to keep him straight because Mark Davis is another one of these Nepo babies.
Uh-huh.
He inherited the team from his dad, Al Davis, and, has done an absolutely terrible job of running the team other than moving them to Las Vegas, getting this brand new stadium built, and just cashing checks.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely cashing checks because these pro sports franchises, you can't go wrong with them even if you're bad at it. As far as the on-field product, I mean, the Raiders are abysmal under Mark Davis and have been the whole time he's owned the team. They've been lousy. And yet, he continues to be allowed to have that haircut and to become phenomenally wealthy.
And does Tom Brady own part of that team now? He owns part of
team,
and so he's a part
owner.
And of course, they now have both our former quarterback and our former coach,
and it's
over
going
there,
great,
and just doing terribly. It's one of those things where I don't root against Geno Smith
or Pete
Carroll. Like I would want both of them to be a level of success, not a level of success that they end up doing better than the Seahawks. You know what I mean? Like generally speaking, but. I like both those guys. I guess, Geno leaving a little bit like Russell Wilson, thinking like, hey, you guys aren't respecting me enough. I'm not going to entertain any offers. I can do better somewhere else. And then having him fail a little bit, you're kind of like, well, we liked you here. We wish you had stayed. Like, I guess there's a little, like, not schadenfreude, but a tiny bit of like, okay. But generally speaking, I like Geno Smith. I like the fact that he kind of had a late career comeback. I think he's a good guy. Pete Carroll, I think well of. And it is a little bit weird to see them both just, it's pretty embarrassing.
Absolutely
I heard there's some
defenestrated.
I heard there's rumors that Pete Carroll's job might not make it through the season. Like I don't want that for him.
They're abysmal, and like you just see these headlines like Geno Smith flipping off the fans.
Yeah.
like
Which
on the
Isaac
sideline.
Prudered that. Did you see that? Isaac Prudered it. It was, if he did that, it was so fast and casual. He was trying not to be seen almost.
I did not watch it. I just kind of could picture it in my mind, probably a very frustrated Geno Smith as that season just continues to unravel for them. It's just, it's not a good scene. And then meanwhile, it's like for our beloved Seahawks, or for my beloved Seahawks, it's just wild that they're like the most power rankings have them at the worst as the third best team in the National Football League.
Wow.
I did not have that on my bingo card for this year. I mean, I'm always, smoking the hopium on the Seahawks and thinking of a way that they might be better than people expect. But I didn't have them as considered one of the best teams in the league. And if they manage to beat the Rams here in a week or two, I think it would probably be a shoe-in to, will they be a number one seed? And they'd also be presumed to be probably maybe the best team in the NFL.
That's going to be a tough one, right?
That makes no sense. The National League of League, the National Football of League.
Do you know that that's one of my pet peeves? I have a lot of weird pet peeves that don't make sense. Do not feel any, I don't know if you would anyway, but don't feel any pressure to go along with me on this. But I really hate it when announcers or just even commentators on the radio or television refer to it as the National Football League, because it always, to me, just feels like that way of making it sound like you're saying more than you are. We all know what the NFL stands for. It
stands for hats worn by Rob Lowe.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
Literally random.
There's always a type of person who says, in the National Football League. You can't get away with that in the National Football League. And it's you know what I mean? To me, that signifies something about the person who's talking, which is the type of person, and maybe I am this kind of person, but who just wants to make it sound like
There's no whining in football. But every August, football comes to wine country.
That's a man I love.
I do love him, by the way.
Yes.
There was one of those, I'm sure I talked about this when it happened, but that's Liev Schreiber.
Slunk cheap.
That's Slunk cheap himself. And they actually eventually pulled the curtain back on, Hard Knocks, and they had Liev Schreiber come to camp. And I think it might have even been, speaking of Mark Davis, it might have even been the Raiders. I think might have been the team that season. And so it's this kind of weird thing where you've got this sort of voice of God announcer guy who's now just palling around with the players. And there's two things. One, dude, Liev Schreiber, he big. He was not, usually what you notice when a normal person is standing next to an NFL player is how small normal people are. They're just dwarfed by the size of these players. He looked like he could have suited up, which I was like, damn, dude. And then also he was so likable. He was self-deprecating. He was funny. And this was all just him chatting with the players and stuff. They had him mic'd up, but it wasn't scripted. It was I was like, I have a huge crush on Liev Schreiber, I think.
Yeah, well, watch, is it Mixed Nuts? I don't know. Did we have this conversation recently on the air?
Yeah, you were talking about holiday movies that you were looking to engage with. And
yes.
Mixed Nuts is one of them.
And I hadn't watched that until I saw it 5 years ago. Somebody had recommended it. And it's a 1990s movie with Steve Martin and I want to say Lily Tomlin. And it's based on a suicide.
It's got Rita Wilson.
Oh, is it Rita Wilson? I'm sorry.
She's the secretary or something, or the other therapist, or I don't. She's works in the office with.
They're running a suicide hotline. So my point here is this, and Liev Schreiber's character is a cross-dresser, and I don't think I don't think there's any. This is the mid-90s. They don't use the same language we did, or that we do. So I don't think he's trans. I think he's a cross-dresser. But when you describe this movie, hey, do you want to watch a wacky comedy called Mixed Nuts from the 90s about people who answer calls to the suicide hotline, and there's a cross-dresser?
It sounds like a real minefield.
It sounds like it would be such a minefield. But I only watched it one time, and I was shocked at how I thought it was such a tender movie. And I, again, as a cis guy, maybe I'm not, maybe I'm watching it through eyes that aren't seeing maybe microaggressions that are there. But my takeaway was everybody really treats him with a lot of respect, and I don't remember it ever being the butt of a joke that he's a cross-dressing man. It's just really sweet. Oh, and Adam Sandler's in it. Add a layer to that, and his relation. We played it recently. A clip of Adam Sandler and him talking about how Adam Sandler is a writer who writes bumper stickers or something.
Oh, right.
Their relationship is so. Let me see if I can play this. It's just so sweet. And I love the fact that it doesn't seem to be homophobic in any way. Let me see if
Are you a professional ukulele player? Oh, no, I'm a writer.
What do you write?
T-shirts.
Really?
I wrote Save the Dolphins.
Excuse me. What do you mean you wrote it?
I wasn't the first person to say it. I was the first person to put it on a T-shirt.
Did you do Life is a Beach?
Oh, I wish.
I
That's
just
a great.
find them so charming together.
That's amazing. I always think that's Jeffrey Tambor because he sounds a
he does
little
have a
Jeffrey
little-
Tambor-ish. His voice is just very
Yes.
deep that way.
Yes.
But I don't know if it was because you mentioned it to me. The trailer for Mixed Nuts popped up on my feed somewhere the other day, unannounced, and I watched it. That's how I knew Rita Wilson was in it.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like, oh, I think this actually does look like a movie that I would watch. I also want to just mention, I think we're entering the what we call it, Sandler-sance, the renaissance of, not that Adam Sandler, ever needed, rescuing or reviving in terms of his career. It's always been very successful, but I think we're entering the Adam Sandler is one of the greatest actors of his generation discourse. Timothy Chalamet shouted him out the other day. I think it was for his Punch Drunk Love performance. He's getting a lot of love about this Jay Kelly movie that he's in, where he's really sort of the emotional core of the film. I went and watched the Punch Drunk Love trailer yesterday. I really need to rewatch that movie.
It's
I
been
bet
a
you
while for me.
as a grown up, I think when I watched it, because my memory is it came after Boogie Nights.
Yeah,
And
it did.
Boogie Nights was such a followable film for me. It's a very traditional film. It's the story of Eddie Adams from Torrance, and he becomes a porn star, and then his life falls apart. And I loved Boogie Nights so much as a movie that I think then I went to see Punch Drunk Love, thinking, oh, it's going to be like that, and it's a much different film. It's it's a lot sort of less predictable, which I think I would like now. I think at the time when I was 23 or something, I was like, oh, I want there just to be predictable things that happen to these characters.
It's a very tense movie, Punch Drunk Love. I remember seeing it twice. I loved it. And I'm not saying this to sound snobby, but that's our taste, or at least our taste back then, how different it was. My problem with Boogie Nights, everybody loved Boogie Nights so much, and I clearly liked it. I mean, there's some great performances, and it's funny, and it's good. But my problem with it was it just fell into that pattern of just the most predictable rise to fame, then corruption, and then fall. It was it was the narrative arc of every single VH1 Behind the Musics, right? Only it was interesting and funny
It's
that
behind
it was
the music.
It's behind the music because it was based on pornography instead of music. Behind the pornography. VH1's behind the pornography. And I remember even seeing it the first time and being like, I just really didn't like the format of that because it seemed so predictable to me. And Punch Drunk Love, way more along the lines of things I like. And I know I rewatched it, but it's been decades. And I really hope it holds up because back to your point of Sandler, he makes all these goofy movies himself, but then he will appear in your Uncut Gems, right? Every decade he's good for a really stirring, shocking performance.
I think that was Chalamet's point, was that a lot of people think of him as Happy Gilmore or whatever, but he's clearly got more going on, in his head than just some of those really, really broad characters. But
I
feel
him,
like.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's it.
Well, this is very, very vague, but maybe it's look upable. But he was accepting an award for something.
I think that's where this whole thing came from.
Okay, I'm thinking of something that I heard on Lebitard a year ago or something. Maybe it's resurfacing, but he was accepting some award, and I think the bit was he asked his children to write his acceptance speech for him, and so he unfolded a piece of paper. What were you thinking of? Because I might be bastardizing reality there.
Andrew, I'm just a guy who looks at TikTok on his phone or other things and has no idea what the origin source of anything is anymore.
Yeah.
I see a headline that Timothy Chalamet said that Adam Sandler is one of the greatest actors of his generation. And then I'm looking at a clip of that, and then next thing you know, it's suggesting the Punch Drunk Love trailer, which now I'm watching that.
You're watching that right now, or you're watching that as one thing leads to another?
That was how I experienced this information. So I don't know anything about the actual award that was being given, or when it happened, or I don't know any of the other details other than what I just told you. But it'll be interesting to see if Adam Sandler gets nominated for an Oscar for this Jay Kelly movie, which they put in theaters I think just so that it could get nominated.
And you said you did see that, or you didn't?
I did see it. I loved it.
Yeah, see, I don't think I heard about it until you mentioned it, and then it whipped right back out of my mind. When you said Jay Kelly, I thought you were talking about the ping pong movie again, but that's Burt Wonderful, or what's the ping pong movie?
You're thinking of Burt Wonderstone.
I think of Burt Wonderstone. What's
it's
the ping
Marty
pong?
Supreme,
Marty
which, by
Supreme,
the way,
yes,
is getting
good reviews.
It's getting a lot of oh my God, what came up the other day? There was a movie, Andrew. I got to write these things down because my memory is Swiss cheese these days. But like, there was some movie that I was mentioning to my parents, or that came up, and what do you think my mom's very first thing she said was? She said, "Oh, you know what? Maybe it was Train Dreams or something." She said, "That got 98% on Rotten Tomatoes."
Right.
It is the lens through which my mom sees her entire world. I wish Rotten Tomatoes applied to everything, like food purchases, how long you can eat unrefrigerated beef stroganoff.
Well, I was
going
to say I wanted to make a joke, but I
mean,
the
irony that Rotten's right there in the name.
Yes, Rotten Tomatoes might be a woohoo deal, honestly. But by the way, I just want to say, Adam Sandler back in 2022, apparently it got a lot of play. His daughters wrote his Gotham Awards speech, and apparently it was quite charming and funny.
Oh, nice.
And that I guess there were 14 and 16 at the time or something. So they're like, "Thank you for giving our daddy this really important speech. He's the best," or this award, he's the best, or something like that. So
that's the other thing too.
Pretty
He seems
sweet.
to have a really pretty solid life with his family, and he seems to be a remarkable. It's just weird that It's interesting that he would, I don't know, just have such a great career and be so broadly popular, but also be pretty good at acting, but also have been a breakout star on SNL, but also be a pickup basketball player and just like a seemingly pretty normal dude.
I think I did hear Tim Kirkshin talking about the time he played pickup basketball with Adam Sandler.
I wonder how Kirkshin does down in the post.
I don't know what that means, but
it
sounds like he plays a lot for a very, very short man.
That's what I was going to say. He's not a tall guy, so I wonder what his game is like. I wonder if he's an outside shooter, or when you're playing pickup ball, if you just know your footwork, you can post guys up even if you're smaller than them just by having good footwork and stuff. I would love to see. In fact, you know what? After we're done here today, which we're, by the way, getting to the end of the show.
Yeah, I was going to say Bingo just walked in here, which means Bingo thinks we've been going on for too long. And that's right. He wants his birds.
What I'm going to do after the show is Google Tim Kirkshin playing basketball and see if I can find some video of it.
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
I also want to know, I have no experience in this realm at all, but you've often described the sweaty older guy who's always playing, and I'm wondering if he's that guy who's making too much contact and sweating all over you.
Oh, look at this. YouTube. Adam Sandler and Tim Kirkshin basketball game.
Should we play this? Is there
There
any
just
good
went
audio?
my afternoon. Oh, no, he's talking about it.
Okay.
You've already heard this audio. I thought it was actually footage from the game.
Yeah, I don't know if I've heard that particular. He probably has a handful of stories he returns to, but I did hear about it at one point.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. We are all done for today, but we're going to be back here tomorrow with more Imaginary Radio for you all. So please, if you can, join us for that. In the meantime, have a great Wednesday. Take care of yourselves. Again, stay dry if you're in the Pacific Northwest. And please remember, no mountain too tall.
And good luck to all.
Power out.